Michael, mute out on your end, please.
Okay, we have a few attendees here, so I just want to make sure that you can hear me and see my screen. So if everything's working properly, drop a chat and let me know your answer to the question. If you could travel in time, would you want to see the past or the future? Okay, we're tied for past and future, but we will begin the webinar in just a moment. Hey everyone, thank you for joining this week's Vendasta webinar. We are live from the Vendasta headquarters in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. It's Thursday, March 12th, and today we're going to learn about RealTView's 3D virtual tours. My name is Erica. I'm a product marketing intern here at Vendasta, and joining me today from RealTView, we have Matthew Widmer, CIO, and Michael Berman, COO. Hi, Matthew and Michael. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Great. So just a reminder before we begin, if you have any questions at all throughout the webinar, just drop them in the chat box and we will hopefully get to them all towards the end. And if there's any questions that we don't get to today, we will follow up with you after the webinar. So I know I'm really looking forward to hearing more about this product. So with no further ado, I will pass the presentation on to Matthew.
Oh, great. So actually, Michael's going to open up with just a quick background on the company, and then I'll get back into the stuff.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Berman. I'm the founder of the company with Matthew. So I want to give you a quick, so people ask us all the time, so how do you pronounce this company name? Is it RealTView or RealTV? And it's any way you want it to be. So that's the answer to that question. So Matthew and I started the company about 4.5 years ago, seeking to find solutions in the real estate space for showcasing property. And we came across technology that we felt was something that would be sustainable and was state of the art. And so we built our business on that foundation, and found out during that course of time that real estate was not just the only opportunity, it was also available in commercial space and be very valuable there. And my commentary around that is really for commercial usage, highly valuable. And the reason today why it's even more valuable is because if you have a business on Main Street, for example, everybody knows that Amazon and Shopify and Target and Walmart are all sucking up the oxygen from these companies. This will help your clients have some digital footprint, a digital presence. And what we're going to show you today is how this technology is really compelling. And I'm going to hand it over to Matthew, who's going to show you the tours and show you the statistical evidence of why these things work. And we'll be available for questions at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, my partner, Matthew.
Great, 1 second, let me just share my screen. Great, so yeah, we want to go a little bit over the benefits of 3D virtual tours. Really what this allows buyers and prospective clients to do is the moment they show interest in a retail store, commercial product, or a residential real estate or commercial real estate location, from their computer, from their phone, from their tablet, they can fly directly into the store. They can walk around it in first person, similar to Google Maps. If you've ever walked down Street View, you have a 360 view where you can walk around. And we actually integrate into Google Maps as well, which I'll explain later. But let me give you a quick overview and demo of what the tours look like, the dollhouse, as well as the first person exploration mode. And then we'll get into some use case scenarios for different commercial applications, Google integration, and other interesting things.
Welcome to the future of real estate showcasing. Experience the benefits of lifelike 24/7 virtual open house showings. RealTView offers an unmatched all-in-one solution to help increase listings, sell properties faster, while instantly expanding your market to a global audience. Interested prospects can instantly walk through any property as if they were there in person from anywhere at any time. This speeds up business cycles by engaging buyers and renters the moment they show interest with lifelike 3D virtual tour showings of your property. Easy viewing of 3D realistic dollhouses allows buyers to see the layout of a property like never before. This allows clients to view the property right away or any time that is most convenient for their schedule. Lifelike 3D dollhouses allow prospects from around the world to see the layout of a property in full 3D fidelity like never before. The package also includes high-definition 2D still photos, so agents can put the money they usually spend towards photography into powerful digital marketing tools that will take their sales and listings to the next level. All orders receive free 2D floor plans of all floors, a saving of generally $300+. Engaging buyers with interactive virtual tags allows you to showcase the details of a property interactively like never before. Experience the power of allowing buyers to pre-qualify a selection of properties in advance, helping streamline the process of finding clients the perfect property while reducing wasted showings for agents. Preparing a property for 3D virtual tour captures is as easy as getting a property ready for a 2D photographer. Experience how RealTView can increase your listings and sales while saving you hours a week in wasted time.
Great. So, 1 second. So that had more examples for real estate. It's literally the same thing for any commercial or retail spot. It captures the location in 3D. You can do tagging of individual products, where you can actually virtually walk through the store, click on the item that you want to purchase, and it can link you to the website to purchase it directly. This creates a virtual e-commerce platform that has the physical appearance of the actual store itself. So as Michael was bringing up, when you're competing with Amazon and all these online retail companies, the ability to actually go to a physical spot still has a lot of merit with people who want to see things in person rather than just a 2D photo of it. And what this does is it bridges that desire to go there in person with the experience online. So a lot of times there's a business cycle between one of your clients, they have a prospect or a buyer who is going to check out their retail store, they go online and they show interest, but there's this period of time between when they actually show up in person. And this removes that barrier where the moment they show interest, when their highest engagement level is peaked, they can actually jump right into the retail store or the real estate property in that moment and explore it as if they were there. So it really gives a first to mind appearance. There's a lot of times where physical stores, somebody checks it out on their website and then realizes they can go get it from Amazon much cheaper. This actually brings them into the store experience, which most marketing is directed towards. It's creating sales by bringing people into the store when you're dealing with Main Street. So here's a list of some of the different types of commercial properties that we've done virtual tours for, but it could literally be anything that has a location that needs to be showcased. They all capture in the same process. So I'll give you a quick example of some of the virtual tours. Here's an example of Nike. So a retail store, it allows buyers to walk through the store and check out each of the different items, as well as zooming into them for what they're trying to purchase. So if the idea is to get somebody to a mall or to a physical location, you can bridge a digital connection where they can walk through as if they were there in real time. So I'll show you also an example. We've done boat shows. So it really doesn't matter how big the items of what's being sold are. It's just about having a 3D space that we can capture. And we have the ability to lay those tags where if somebody's interested in the boat, they can click on it directly from the virtual tour, go straight to the website to engage with buying, or if there's a way to check out on the website, buy directly. But a lot of people still prefer this in-person experience of shopping, and this transports that to the online shopping age where 70 to 80% of a lot of shopping is heading towards. And just one last quick example, we can do properties of massive size. This was a hotel. So even locations that have hundreds of rooms, if you look at the 3D model, we can capture it in its entirety. And with the actual virtual tour, you can jump directly into any room or any location within the building. So if you're looking around a store, if you're looking at a real estate property, the ability to teleport between rooms throughout the building based on what interests you is much quicker than walking through in person. So there's benefits as well to using this beyond what you would get in person. One of the greatest benefits that we also offer is Google Street View integration. So when people are walking down Google Street View or they're looking at Google Maps, it now lets the viewer jump directly into the building in first person, similar to the tours that I showed you. So we're one of the few agents who are actually certified by Google for this integration. So we have the ability to actually take your tour that you did for your client, we can put it directly into Google Street View. So one example, we did Showcase Cinemas in Yonkers, New York. And in 23 days, they had 54,000 views of the virtual tour. And we compared it to their social media and website views, and those only had about 7,000 to 10,000. So just the saturation of audience of Google Maps, anybody who's on an Apple or an Android device, if they're going through Google Maps, if they're looking up directions, if they're looking for locations, the virtual tour is going to be directly in their face. So this is increased exposure saturation value beyond just putting the tours on your website or your social media campaigns. It directly goes into Google where the highest amount of viewership already exists. And if they're searching for the location through that platform, the virtual tour is directly accessible. So I'll show you a quick example. So if you're familiar with Google Maps, if you've ever dragged the yellow Street View stick figure, usually you drag it onto a street to see the street view. Now they let you drag it directly into the building. So those blue dots are actually the virtual tour locations inside of the building. And now directly from Google, you can walk around the virtual tour using their platform. So this is a kitchen and bath retail store that we did. They have many different models, granite, countertop types, and when customers call online with questions, they direct them to the tour. So not only can they see the one they're interested in, but they can view the whole collection to purchase more or upgrade their purchase or see beyond what their initial point of interest is as if they were there in person. So it really helps bridge the gap between physical stores and online shopping without losing the charm of the physical store. And so the pricing on them, we have a base price that starts at the wholesale for partners of Vendesta at $327, and that includes a location that's up to 2,500 square feet, I'm sorry. And we do, based on every 500 square feet beyond that, there's an extra $36 that you pay, that would be charged for that. So there's a high margin. The tours retail generally for $549. Whatever margin can be obtained on your end is something that you can always boost the price up for. So it includes the virtual tour, the 3D dollhouse. It also has virtual reality support, so you can put it on VR glasses, walk through the properties if you're there in person. What I showed you as an example works on any computer, tablet, or smartphone, so everybody has access to it. But if you happen to have a VR headset, it's an incredible experience to walk through a store or a property in first person. It's funny, if you put people on a second floor, they'll actually not step forward if they're on the stairways, you know, afraid that they're going to fall down. It's a very immersive experience of actually being there. For real estate as well as commercial, we also provide high-def photography. So a lot of times when stores are paying for photography in the first place, it's similar pricing to our whole package. Upgrading to this gives them the virtual tour, the dollhouse, the ability to integrate into Google Street View, and all these other elements. And integration into social media, you basically get a link and you share the link goes directly to the tour, and we have simple HTML codes. You can actually embed it on your website like a YouTube video where it has a play button. So if they want to directly have it displayed on their website, it's actually an interactive frame that's part of the website without pulling them out of your client's website. So that's the majority of the platform. I'd be happy to answer any questions right now. There's a couple more slides, but not everybody has those questions. So I'd rather kind of answer direct to the questions in the crowd.
Hey, Matt, there was a question here on the pricing. Can you just go over that again? A couple of people have asked.
Oh, sure. 1 second. Sorry, I'm sharing my screen. It's not showing the...
Yeah, you have the slide.
Okay. So the suggested pricing, it got changed recently on the partner's website. It's located in the details, but we've had clients who sell up to $549 for the package. The Google Street View integration is the ability to also make a couple extra $100 per sale. When you deal with real estate agents, a lot of times it's repeat purchases. So, you know, certain stores, they might have amount of franchises or amount of store locations that they want to do it in. But real estate agents turn over an amount of houses each year. So those can also be really helpful streams. But generally it's around $500, $550. But we've had people who were able to sell them for a higher value just because of the value that it brings to the company.
Also, I think from a geographic point of view, you saw the map at the beginning of the presentation. We have certified 87 providers across the country. I'm speaking with someone from Vendesta today because you have a prospect west of Denver, about 2 hours away. So we deal with that. We have the provider who tells us how far they're willing to travel. And so we connect the dots with the two. In this case, one of the Vendesta prospects has a nursing facility that they want to take care of. So we make sure that when we're quoting it, it takes care of the driving time. So in this case, it's 2 hours, and there would be a small fee, and that's all told up front to the client. And it doesn't ever really impede getting this done. We've never had that as an issue. People who are out further than a regular city understand they have to pay for some transportation costs sometimes. But generally, we're around every major city, and we've been able to service most parts of the country. to this point. We also beginning with an international presence as well to coverage. Also, just a little bit more, we've had great experience with Vendasta with some of the clients. We've got some big prospects. So one of the clients has is in the cannabis field and is doing cannabis stores. Another customer of Vendasta is using laundromats. They're focused in that space. So if you guys as agencies and out there have prospects that have duplication, and that's where you can make a lot of money. And again, what Matthew said is really true. The street view is high value, and there's a lot of margin opportunity for you guys within that as well. So just let me see what these other questions look like.
Well, sure, and I can answer a couple of them. For Dennis, compared to 3D Vista, that's actually the platform we started on 4.5 years ago. It's just 360 images, and they have little circle dots where you click the dot and it just transfers you to another 360 image. These virtual tours are actually 3D models. You can spin it as a dollhouse to see it in 3D, which I can show you. And it also has the ability to view it in VR. Everything has 3D spatiality. So when you're walking through it, you actually feel like you're moving through it. You're not just jumping from one 360 image to another, and it's just teleporting you around the house. So 3D Vista kind of had that feel where you would jump to the living room. You wouldn't feel like you were walking there. You kind of just teleport from your previous room over to that one. And just to show you in contrast, so there's the 3D model itself. We actually use infrared lasers. So we build a full model of the actual property. So you'd never get this from a 3D photo itself. And then this is actually dynamically connected to the tour. So if I wanted to go to the room at the top left, I could click into it and it brings me into the first person view. And when you see when I go between these two areas, it actually moves me while keeping the room in place. I'm not just jumping between two different photos. And that's because of the 3D capture. It actually has the whole room plotted out where it can actually move you through it, not just jump from a photo to a photo.
I can answer Joseph's question. I think I have a provider that comes close to you from near Dallas that's willing to do Oklahoma. So if there's business to be had, absolutely. You want to answer Keith's?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So here, let me just load this up for you. So if you look at our coverage map right here, we have trained photographers in each of these areas. There's a proprietary camera that we use that each photographer has. So it's not just going and shooting 360 photos that anybody can do. It's a like $5,000 camera that each of them use to build the 3D models and everything. But basically they have availabilities of schedules. If you have a client who's in one of the areas that's here, we can call and confirm the availability and set up the capture. And if there's locations that you have a lot of potential work in that we do not have a capture agent, we can set that up as a point of expansion. So it's just a matter of making sure we have somebody currently within 100 miles, 150 miles of your location, coordinating with us the best time based on their schedule and your client. And it's really that simple.
We do have a footprint in Houston, yes.
In Houston, not in Hawaii, but we're looking to expand to Hawaii. I would love to have virtual tours of Hawaii. That would be a lot of fun to go through. The Google Street View integration is an add-on that you make money. This is for Scott. So the Google Street View integration is an extra, I believe, $199. I'd have to double check. I can load up the partner site. But we have people sell these usually for $300, $400, $500 on top of the original sale. So the original sale is the tour, the photos, the dollhouse, the ability to put on your website, the ability to use it in social media. And then the Google Street View, which gets in front of a much wider audience, is an add-on that you can also make $100 to $300 on, depending on the price point that you can hit. So our turnover schedule, generally within 1 to 2 days, we can set up a capture. The turnover is within 24 to 72 hours. Generally, the tour and everything comes within 24 hours, and the floor plans take 2 days to process. So they generally come as soon as they're done. As far as Canada coverage, we're opening up Canada as well as Europe, South America, and some Caribbean locations in the next half year.
We have people. We do have people in Ontario, though, at this point.
Yeah. But as you guys express your demand or amount of clients that would be interested, we can put it up to the top of the list of next place of expansion. So we can definitely get that in place for where the demand is, where it's not currently. So, and to answer Michael Clay's, in San Diego, we definitely have support.
Yep, for sure.
So the way that you order is you go to the partner's website. The way that it was set up, first there's the base order, which is the first 250, 2,500 square
2,500.
feet. Sorry, thank you.
2,500.
Yeah, 2,500 square feet. And that's the original package. And if they have a larger location, it's by each 500 square feet on top of that. So there's a margin, the bigger the location, the larger the margin you can make for the sale. If it's just the base alone, it's just the prices that we discussed. But as it goes higher in square foot, there's also opportunity for extra margin on your end. So Dennis, as far as modifying it, it's not exactly a video. So it's a choose your own adventure 3D experience. You can move in any direction you want. It's not a locked in vantage point. Sorry, it just got knocked down. But so modifying, we can add in little visual tags where you can add in video content, photos, or text. So we have hospitals where they have videos of each department saying, welcome to this department, this is what we do. And when you walk through the hospital or in car dealerships, you have the owner, introducing himself to you, explaining different things just as if you were there in person. So we can replicate media experiences that make it similar to being there in person. We can remove points of where you can walk, but usually the way that it's captured is the model that we get. So we always want them to have it set up in advance the way that they want it captured, and then it will capture it directly from that. So let me see. Yes, integration to WordPress, really easy. It's just simple HTML, and it works like a YouTube video integration. So you have it in the website without them having to click out of the website. They hit a play button and they can engage with it directly on the website. But you copy and paste in an HTML code in a row in WordPress, and that's all you have to do. There's no issues with search engine optimization. It actually shows up as a hit in the SEO, so it builds extra locations. With the Google Street View integration, if you link directly to that on your website, Google will boost you up in their listings because you're re-promoting Google. So having people get the Google integration add-on is a great way to also boost SEO, just because of how Google prioritizes its ratings. So to answer Joseph, I'll try to go as quick as possible. These questions are flying in. So Joseph, the space, generally you want to have it as empty as possible. You don't want somebody to show up in the shot. It takes about 15 seconds for each capture. And in between that, you can kind of move in between. Usually if there's a back room, people just waiting in the back room, or having, somebody who's there to monitor the process who can be with you. But you want to avoid lots of people moving around so they don't get captured in the shot. So to answer Scott, we have collaterals for you that is a stripped down version of the presentation. We have demos. If there's requests to provide maybe a portal website that has a list of demos and things that you can use on the fly to show to people, I'd be happy to do that. But yeah, we have media as well as examples and ways that you can show this in person. Having a tablet or a phone is a great way to show it off with touchscreen. So to Dennis, the platform that we use is stored in the cloud. So it's not stored locally on your platform, but you have rights to it where it can never be taken down. You'll always have access to it, but just because of the IP of the technology we're using, that's where they force it to reside. It's also mobile responsive. So mobile, tablet, smartphone, as well as desktop, laptop, and VR, which is the most impressive of all the experiences. Let me see. So let me just go over the answered questions. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any. Great, yeah, I think we covered anything.
Yeah, I think we got all the questions there. You guys didn't have anything else to share here? Oh, we just got a new question. We have, what are the upcoming improvements?
So a couple of things we're developing that we'll be the only company that has. We want to do shared remote viewing between either a sales rep at the store or a real estate agent. And what that means is that instead of having the end user viewing it at their own discretion, you have a shared viewing experience where either the sales rep or real estate agent or the prospective buyer can move through the tour. So they have the ability to video chat, walk through the tour together, discuss it together. For instance, the end user could say, do you have shoes that are such and such? And the sales rep could direct them to that location of the store rather than the buyer having to figure out where it is themselves. So right now it's just an experience where, just as if you were walking around the store, it's no different. You find your way to what you want, but we can actually bring the engagement with the sales reps, with the real estate agents, so that they can showcase, explain, give detail on the products beyond just seeing them in the virtual tour.
Also, to add to that, the real estate agents love this idea because they get to control the tour. In other words, if you're on a Zoom call like we are now and you're sharing the screen, you, the agent, have control of the tour and you can do your own dialogue box and say, oh, this is home is beautiful and it's got this type of kitchen and so forth, and then put your own personality and style into the selling of that particular property using this showcasing method. And then I'll show you another property that's the same. And then now you've narrowed down to 2 properties to not waste anybody's time and take them actually to the property to sniff it out and see it live and in person. So it's a great, great tool. We've had a lot of response to bring this to market as the future.
Definitely. And just to elaborate on that, with real estate agents, we found it saves them a lot of time. They're going to, people want to check out an amount of houses and then whittle it down to maybe 3. And the ability to do that virtually first, rather than having to travel to all of those locations, saves the agent so much time. They've already streamlined their pre-qualification of what they're looking for. Then you actually go to those places in person. And the same way with commercial, it really lets people engage with the products, with the in-store experience right away. So if they saw an ad that interests them and they're planning to go see it in person right away, when that interest is hot, before they're distracted with other things, they can jump right into that experience without driving anywhere. And especially with traffic, with the ability to check out products in stores that are further away than you normally travel, this helps retail outlets and real estate agents reach a wider audience that might not have traveled there in person, but would now that they've seen it in the 3D virtual tour. Great. Okay, so as far as hosting fees, with real estate, there's never any hosting fees. With commercial, the first year is covered in the purchase. And then, Michael, what is the annual
so
thing after that?
The second year pricing is $112, and you can put whatever you like on top of that. I'm sorry, 144 US dollars. I'm sorry, I quoted that incorrect. It's 144, $12 per month. You guys can charge and add whatever you'd like on top of that.
So Joseph, yeah. So with retail clients, a lot of times it is recapturing to get the new inventory.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump in here quickly. With the questions, can you just make sure we are getting them read out loud first so the whole audience knows what it is?
Sure.
Absolutely. So Joseph is asking basically saying that retail clients who update their inventory would likely need to capture more frequently. Is there more repeat business in those? And the answer is yes. So we, especially in furniture and seasonal inventory changing stores, doing it 4 times a year makes sense to them. That's when they're rotating inventory. They can connect everything. Stores that have inventory that move faster, generally are making more sales, can have the ability to do it at a faster rate. But even, like a furniture store or something, even if it was 3 months outdated to what currently was there, it shows off the general selection, the general style, the type of offering, which is a lot of what brings people in. So Dennis is asking, can you have the booking of services embedded into the tour? So we can put a link to get more of these tours into the tour. So somebody viewing it can be, you know, targeted to contact you to get more, to find out about how to get them. But usually the booking is online. We have a price calculator. It's really simple. You type in the square footage and it gives you a price, and then we contact you to set up a time for the capture. So the booking is pretty simple that way, but we can put links into the tour and stuff like that to help promote. So to answer Mike Dixon, can scanning be done outdoors? And the answer is yes and no. We use infrared lasers. So if there's really direct sunlight at the heat of the day, it's not able to do outside. If there's a tiny bit of overcast, we can do it just fine. So if there's a really important outside area that needs to be captured, we usually try to focus on earlier in the day, later in the day, or on a day that has overcast, just so the light, the really intense light is the only time that it really creates an issue. So as far as downloading the tour, you can have an offline version on an iPad. So you would log in with an account that would have all of the tours that you've used with clients, and then you could display that offline to people on the iPad. So you can that's the one way that the platform allows you to do that. So Tangela is asking about the video chat and integrated, if it's been integrated yet. That was to answer the question of what are we anticipating for our developments in the future? What are we most excited about? So we're currently working on the development of that. It might be a couple months, but it's definitely in the near future, and we can give you guys all a heads up when the video chat between the sales agent and the real estate, and the ability to control the tour between the two of them if either wants to direct each other in a direction. That will be part of that. So David's asking about merchants using it in trade shows. It has incredible value for trade shows. It creates a time capsule of the whole trade show that people who weren't able to go to the trade show can view either on a later day or on that day from anywhere in the world. And we can integrate media where each location in the trade show can have a button on it that brings you to their website, that loads up a video that explains what's going on. So any of these places that are using expos or trade shows to show off a product, they usually have a TV screen and they're showing it off in some way. We can integrate those movies into a virtual capture of the complete expo. And when we've talked to other locations that run the expos, they can choose to have the people who are in the expo pay extra to be part of the virtual tour. So you can get captured as the general thing, but if you want to put your video, if you want to put a link to your website, if you want to have an interactive media presence in it, that's a way the expo can get money to subsidize the cost of the tour for the whole expo. So it's incredible for that. It works in the UK. We're currently expanding capture agents in the UK to begin capturing.
Actually, I have two people in the UK right now that are
thank you.
with us.
So yeah, so get in touch with Michael afterwards and we can talk about UK right away. Thank you, Michael. So what tools do we have for agencies to market this product? It's literally just a link. So the link brings you to the virtual tour. It works on any device. So whatever their marketing strategy, whatever their digital presence is, it's either integrating it into a website or some sort of medium, or just putting an image that connects to the link of the virtual tour based on whatever marketing you're doing. So it doesn't really change your marketing process. It's just something that you can add into how you're doing it currently.
So let me also comment on the marketing of the product. So there's in the Vendasta platform, there are a number of different collateral pieces available that are statistical evidence from Google and others that we've curated. There are some clips that you can use in your own marketing from that. In other words, make your own white paper. So all of that content is available for that marketing. And I can only tell you from my own experience, which is I put my feet on the street and I took the iPad out and I just knocked on, when this first started now, I'm talking about 3.5 years ago, I just started knocking on doors. And one of our first customers was an office products furniture company that was in a strip mall. And they've come back, and every year, like addressing the repeat business every year. And then we upgraded them and got them the toolkit using the Matterport tags. And the next year, the Google Street View really became viable and available. So there was add-on business there. And frankly, I walked into gyms and I walked into car dealerships. I walked and got no's like you couldn't believe. And I'm in New England and people say no here. But honestly, the world has changed. Amazon has changed the world. A lot of the big boxes, like I said, have, and the oxygen has been sucked out. And this is a way for Main Street to really put their feet back into it and have digital footprint. I really talk to people about digital footprint. What is your presence? How are you getting yourself found? How are you getting people to come into your store? How are we getting people back to shop on Main Street? It's a pretty compelling argument. So just saying from my experience, it's really just get out and pound the pavement, talk to people about how they're going to compete in this world. With the world change so much, how do they still thrive? And you guys are the answer man. So the tour is a great vehicle, but your understanding of the marketplace and what you can do for your customer is really the toolkit that you guys have. So there you go.
Thanks, Michael. So to answer, just want to go through these. So to answer Kyle, he's asking the process for the initial client contact. So it's really simple. You just need to know the square footage of the location that defines the pricing that you get, and you can choose the margin on top of that based on what they're willing to pay. So, the first thing is to check our map, which if you log into the partners product page, it'll have a map of where we currently have coverage. If we don't have coverage in your area and you have business that could be lined up there, reach out to us. We can definitely prioritize getting it there. But, currently make sure we have a capture agent within 100 miles. Grab the square footage from the client. You have your price quote instantly from the website. And then at that point, we can coordinate a date just to schedule the capture. But really just make sure we have coverage in the area, and knowing the square foot is all you need in order to move forward. So, okay, so Michael Clays is saying, can we talk to the tech in San Diego? If he markets this to 50,000 realtors in San Diego, what's the best way to get the best views and results? So, and we can have a much more in-depth call to really strategize that with you. But basically, we can go over the statistical benefits. You have view times that are 5 to 10 times greater than photos. As far as real estate, you have increases of sales by 2/3 in some demographics of buyers. 1 in 3 buyers is willing to purchase a house unseen. Just like with Carvana with the car, there's a lot of there's this huge market that likes the convenience of online purchasing. And part of making them comfortable with that process is feeling like they can go to the place that they didn't go to in person. So we can talk about, arming you with collaterals, with media, with statistics, with best talking points, and really give you a recipe for success to approach that specific market. And we started off in real estate, so we have a lot of compelling information to achieve that.
I think we should have a strategy conversation around that, because I like the idea of, reaching that reach, but we have to strategically do it because we understand the market pretty well. So we'd like to have that conversation whenever.
Oh, so Dennis was talking about booking spa services directly within the tour. So any service that can operate on a website like booking services, we can put right at the front desk. I usually do. So the tour begins, you're at the front desk right of the opening of the location, and there's a virtual tag that says book an appointment at the spa. And when you click on that, it brings you to the website that they already use to do the booking. And this way, there's no overhead change of their infrastructure. They don't have to add any extra software. We just bridge somebody who wants to book a tour from the tour, book a spa visit from the tour directly to the website that handles it. We could have a video that explains why they would want to do it, the promotional and all of that, and below it also have the purchase. You can do a pitch plus a point of sale. But it just makes it as simple as possible, which is whatever you want to link out to, whether it's a booking platform that exists, whether it's, Showcase Cinema at the front area, you click on it and it shows you all the different times for the current movies by linking to the website that shows those current times. So we can always redirect to what that function would be without having to change anything for the user, since they already have it set up themselves. How saturated the markets? Not very. This is a technology that's really within the past 3.5 years. Um, uh, Compared to the platform that we use, there's a lot of the other platforms are really inferior. They just have 360 photos. It doesn't have a 3D dollhouse. Um, there was one other company that tried to do it and was sued by the platform that we use. So the platform that we use has a hold on the market as far as offering this quality of product, and everything else is much more, 5, 7 years ago technology. And then within this, there's only a couple thousand people who use this cameras and technology, and not many of them have the footprint nationally like we do. So the ability to serve across all these different areas is really valuable. If you have national customers, if you have things that go beyond just one local area, which most of the competition only supply services for.
I'd also answer that question with how saturated the market is Joseph, as you've seen this for the first time, then that kind of is part of the answer. So, there are people in the major metropolitan areas that have seen it. The adoption in real estate was the first, as they call, low-hanging fruit. Realtors are a funny bunch. They don't want to spend lots of money on the marketing. So you have an 80-20 rule. And it really in the real estate was more at the high end, but now to compete, and as Matthew was referring to, this is how people search, and this people preview beforehand. So the market really isn't saturated. You consider we've been doing it for almost 4 years now, and people are just wowed and seeing it for the first time. So that's kind of the extra. There's not really saturation. It's still early stage.
Yeah, and as far as competitors, like I was saying, there's not really other national footprints that has the coverage that we have. It's a lot of mom and pop photographers who switched over to these cameras as an added service. So 95% of the market is just somebody who has a small demographic, like 50 miles, 100 miles, and that's their whole company. So as far as the national reach of what we have, if somebody wanted to work with one of those other people, they'd have to work between 5, 10 different providers because they only had small regions. And with us, we can have the same consistency of delivery and pricing with Vendesta across all these areas and the ones we expand to in the future. So Dennis is asking challenges in growing the business and technology. As far as growing, I mean, a lot of it is showing people the tours in person. As long as you can give a demo or show a video or show some sort of media of what it is, it's pretty self-apparent of how powerful it is. A lot of retail stores are aware of their loss of sales to the online market, and the ability for them to take their physical store, virtually capture it, and put it into an online experience that's competing with Amazon and other locations makes a lot of sense, usually explicitly right away to them. So the main thing is just getting in front of people to show them the technology or to check out a video. And then at that point, it's usually pretty compelling of the type of value it'll provide. Yeah, a lot of it is just getting the awareness out there. And that's kind of the opposite side of the fact that the market's not saturated. There's this big opportunity to really carve out a piece of this market because once you see it, it's very highly stimulating for people to purchase, and not many people know about it that much currently. But a lot of people have heard of 3D tours. The best way I found to explain it is to talk about Google Maps Street View. A lot of people have walked through the 360 first-person experience of Street View. This is the same thing, except it's inside of your building. And we can also connect it to Street View so you can walk off the street directly into the building. And when we explain it in those terms, people usually get it right away. They go, okay, I've been through Street View. I get that outside. This is what it would be inside. And then it's, well, we also have 3D models. You can also view it in VR, et cetera, that goes beyond the Street View experience. Michael, so the headquarters, we're in New England. So New Hampshire, Boston, and Rhode Island are the 3 different locations. Michael, do you want to answer the last one?
I'm not sure. I wonder. We're privately held. Yes.
Privately held, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, well, it looks like we got to all of the questions. Thank you guys for sticking it out and giving good, thorough answers to all of those.
It's our pleasure.
So I think that's all we have for today. Thank you again, Matthew and Michael, for walking us through your service. It applies to businesses in so many industries, so I think there's a lot of interest, and it's a great thing that you've come up with here.
Thank you.
And so to our audience, thank you so much for joining us this week. We will see you next time.